Throughout these last couple of months of coaching Rivals players, I have noticed a lot of struggle when it comes to aiming. In this video, I will break down 5 habits that are ruining your aim, how to fix them, and of course, how to finally track people like this, or hit sniper shots like this. We will cover everything from FOV and sensitivity to movement and positioning, and you might be wondering how any of that affects aim, and that's what I will also break down for you guys. So I'm going to keep this video as short as possible so I don't take too much of your time. If you ever need a detailed guide on any of the habits mentioned, make sure to let me know in the comments. Also, the footage in the background will mostly be gameplay that was submitted for coaching. I will use that as examples so you get a better understanding of what I'm saying. I will be revealing the skin case giveaway winners throughout the video and announcing something Discord related also about skin cases. So if you want to see that part, make sure to watch until the end so you don't miss it. Don't forget to subscribe. We will begin with the most basic habit, starting with sensitivity. A lot of people struggle to find the right sensitivity, which I totally understand because it's not just a number you put down and instantly get used to. Copying sense from good players or YouTubers won't help you in most cases. I have seen players struggle to properly track a moving target by moving their crosshair way too fast or not being able to reach that speed at all. Some weapons and melees like knife require faster sensitivity, which most people ignore. The best way to find the right sensitivity would be, for example, to put your sense lower. The minimum I would personally recommend should be enough to track a moving target so you don't struggle against it, or to do a full 360-degree movement by dragging your mouse from one side of the mousepad to the other. Then stick to that for a couple of days or a week, and if it feels too slow, you can progressively make it higher. That way, you keep testing faster sensitivities until it feels too fast. Once you find that middle ground, deciding which sense fits you the most will be a lot easier. Sense is one of the most important factors in aiming, so you really want to spend as much time as possible finding the right one. Rushing and constantly changing your sense will actually just make it worse for you, so stick to one sense, then stick to another. Find the middle ground and finally figure out what works best. The next thing I had to mention was FOV and zoom effect. FOV or field of view can really affect your gameplay. If you watched my second episode of the coaching series, you probably noticed that the person I was VOD reviewing had a really high zoom effect. That's just one example of how badly it can actually ruin your aim, even though it feels better to use. A higher zoom effect will always feel better because targets look bigger and are easier to hit at longer ranges. But when it comes to closer range fighting, it's one of the main reasons you lose. The same goes for FOV. I prefer the highest possible FOV in other games because I got to see more on the screen, but it feels weird in Rivals, and I always feel like I don't really need it that much in Rivals itself. Most people keep it somewhere around 100, which is something anyone can recommend. When it comes to camera zoom effect, it's also preference. As I said, having it too high can be bad, but having it too low can also be even worse because longer range targets will become micro targets, which are a lot harder to hit compared to normal targets, so it requires more precise aim. I also keep mine somewhere around the middle. Mine also feels a bit more zoomed in when players are really close, but considering hipfire bullet spreading isn't that big, not using ADS in close range fights will feel easier. Then, once again, we have snipers. A higher zoom effect allows you to see targets easier, but it also has the same effect as any other weapon. It's all preference, so I recommend testing it out. This is what my camera zoom effect and FOV look like. The third habit is having way too much confidence. All of us have experienced this. We think we're better against the player against us, we know we can beat him easily, he's terrible at the game, etc. So our confidence overtakes our decision making, which leads to terrible aiming mistakes. Not just aiming mistakes, but this video is about aiming, so we will stick to that. Playing too aggressively, panicking when things aren't going well, all of that affects your aim in its own way. You might not see it yourself, but I will use an example from the last coaching episode where the player got way too confident and started pushing way more aggressively. You can see how he eventually starts panicking, his aim becomes shaky, it's harder to keep track of the opponent, and it becomes harder to land shots properly. It's just one of many examples that happen in actual games. I'm not saying it's bad to have confidence, I'm saying that you should learn how to control it and play smarter instead, because no matter how bad the opponent is, you can still make mistakes and lose. Really quickly, congrats to the 20,000 subs giveaway giveaway winners and the most active chatters on my Discord server. They got their skin cases. I will be doing another skin case giveaway at 25,000 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe and like this video so more people can see it. If you haven't joined my Discord yet, I will also be giving away more skin cases there in the future, and if you're looking to submit your own gameplay like the ones you see in the background, stay up to date. I will be opening submissions really soon. Positioning is another thing that sometimes affects your aim. How? Well, let me explain. If you watched the video where I asked 21 Arch Nemesis players about one aiming tip that helped them improve, you could see that some of them mentioned how shooting from different angles and knowing where your enemy is affects your aim a lot. It's one thing to shoot from one angle, but it becomes totally different when you shoot from another. Sometimes you will be on higher ground, sometimes your opponent will be above or below you, sometimes you will play low ground, and there are a ton of different possibilities you can run into in matches. Knowing how to properly keep track of your opponent can help your aim a lot. Map knowledge allows you to understand common peak spots, which helps you pre-fire angles better. Your crosshair placement plays a huge part. If you're sitting on high ground, you can't just hold it above the walls or look down. You always have to consider the utility your opponent uses and how they position themselves. Constantly moving around the map is what affects your aim too, and that's the last thing I wanted to cover. Movement. I talked about this in the past. Many people think movement and aim are two totally different things, and they are, but nobody thinks about how they affect each other. For example, you can't have good grenade launcher movement if you don't know where to aim on the wall and how, or you can't just hold your shoot button and move to the left because strafing and other movement will force you to switch directions. Movement can also make aiming a lot easier, and you might be wondering how. Well, there's the thing I like to call movement aiming. Not sure if that's the actual name, but you get my point. You use your movement to match your opponent's movement. If your opponent is moving to the right, which is your left, and you move to your left, basically moving in the same direction, all you have to do is hold your shoot button and you will land every shot. If you go in separate directions, it will make it a lot harder for you to do the same thing, because this time you actually have to move your crosshair and then try to track your opponent that way. This also works the same mid-air or when going from one wall to another, anything really. As long as you manage to mirror your opponent's moves, it will make it a lot easier to aim. The only issue is that it makes it easier for them too, so watch how you use it. That's why most of those cool 1 meg AR clips look like aimbot, not because the person actually hits every shot and cheats, but because their movement allows them to use minimal, less precise mouse, controller or touchpad movements to land shots on the opponent. So the next time you see another one of those cool clips, think about how much movement actually affects it. Overall, what I wanted to prove in this video is that anything can affect your aim. All those little details and mistakes you ignore might be one of the main reasons you keep missing shots. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so. Like the video so more people see this, and I will see you guys in the next video.